Oh, hey, hello and welcome to Confused Reviews, where cartoon drawing reviews movies, and yeah, I decided to take a little retreat into the woods to clear my head. Oh no. I took this trip to avoid reviewing anything for a little while, but guess I can't escape these damn movies. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the best horror movies ever made and a pioneer of the slasher genre alongside Halloween and Black Christmas. And being that the movie made enough money to buy Franklin Robot Super Legs, sequels were almost guaranteed to happen. A decade later, we got a controversial second entry, which you all know I think is fucking awesome, but to the masses it was panned for not being like the original, so New Line Cinema, or the house that Freddy built, snatched up the rights to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Which begs the question, why didn't they make a Freddy vs. Leatherface movie? I mean, the 90s would have been a great time for a movie like that to happen, and not in the early 2000s like Freddy vs. Jason, but whatever. They also planned on making Leatherface the only character general audiences remember from these damn movies, the one in the spotlight. And in 1990, we got Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre III, a semi-reboot that ignores Part 2 entirely and tries redoing a lot of the original because at this point in time they were already royally fucking up Freddy and must have been like, hold my beer, and made this movie. So how does it stack up to the original and its badass sequel? Let's just jump into the sequel and see what happened. This is Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre III. So the film begins with a good old narration, where we find out Sally, the hopeful survivor of the original, died in a healthcare facility, and we also hear about this about Leatherface.
Presumed to be an unapprehended killer, was in fact an alternate personality of Sawyer's, activated whenever he donned a crude mask made of human flesh.
Okay, for one, no. Leatherface is not some ripoff of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He's just some random Texan who has a fetish for wearing human skin and killing people and eating them. Oh, and this kind of throws any chance of the new movie, also called Leatherface, being real in this timeline, because apparently it's just some Norman Bates shit and not him just being crazy.
And the so-called Texas Chainsaw Massacre was only the beginning.
No, that comes in 2006. Anyways, we bounce over to Michelle, played by Kate Hodge, and Ryan, played by William Butler, who are headed to Florida to break up. What? No time for that. It turns from high noon to midnight in a matter of seconds, just so we can get a cameo from Caroline Williams, who played Stretch in Part 2. But movie, if you're trying to distinct yourself and ignore Part 2 entirely, putting in the lead character in that movie in this movie isn't helping you at all. The same hazmat team from The Blob shows up to assess the damage, and Emilio Estevez here continues to be a dickhead, ensuring his death will be very painful. And it suddenly turns to day again, because I guess filming that last scene at night was spookier or something. Their peaceful drive is soon interrupted by a fucking armadillo, and they screech to a halt.
We can't just leave him here.
What? Why not? It's not in the road, and whatever animal eats armadillos would get to it even if they didn't hit it. Well, it turns out it's still alive, and in the only ounce of emotional investment I'll give this movie, they have to kill the still squirming animal. Oh cool, the movie's over. Oh wait, we're only 11 minutes in. We then hop over to a gas station where we meet Tex Sawyer, played by Viggo Mortensen, and Alfredo, played by Tom Everett. Wait, Alfredo? He must be one hell of a chef.
I'm gonna service you real good, man.
And one hell of a creeper, too. This Billy the Kid reject here then creepily asks for a ride and wonders why no one wants to drive him anywhere. And McLovin's dad here is just asking to be beaten to death.
I understand you're trying to get home, but listen to me. We can't help you, okay?
You dick!
And in this canceled episode of To Catch a Predator, Indiana Hansen here fights off pasta sauce as the two bimbos escape. And since it's been day for too long, it's night again, and vodka sauce sends the Fall Guy truck to go after them. Give this man an Oscar! Oh, and because logic doesn't apply in slasher sequels, the creeper's truck here catches up to them in a matter of seconds. And since they already shot out the back window, they must have figured the windshield has got to go, as they throw some roadkill onto the car. And well, it's been 25 minutes and the title character is nowhere to be found, so Leatherface pops in like, "What's up, bitches?" and runs after them. He then breaks their car some more and is taken to the ground. Great way to make your villain intimidating. Anyways, he pulls a T-1000 and tries grabbing onto the back of the car, but since this almost turned into a cool scene, they quickly drive away just for some more shots of driving. Yippee. We then arrive to the saving grace of this movie, Benny, played by Ken motherfucking Foree. Oh, and Tex jumps out in front of the car and gets a 2-for-1 deal, causing Benny to crash as well as the others. They're definitely dead. Okay, a flesh mask wearing maniac killing people with a chainsaw with inhuman strength is one thing, but unlikely to survive motor crashes, that's where I draw the line. After that bullshit, Benny helps the two out because he's a nice guy like that, and finds out the two lunatics are serious.
An awfully big saw.
Yes, of the chain variety. Just as Benny goes to get weaponry out of his truck, he's already been found by Tinker Sawyer, played by Joe Unger. He then notices the chainsaw in the back of the truck and does the most American response ever, assemble his gun. America, fuck yeah! He's then thrown off the side of the road and forced to fight with Leatherface, who's just there for some reason, and actually kicks his ass for a while until he pulls a cheap shot and uses a mini saw on Benny. And just before he's killed, some random chick lures him away. She gets him away because we all know Leatherface ain't that bright, and she kind of explains to Benny what's going on.
They watch the road. They hunt people.
Hold on, I don't think I put in The Hills Have Eyes. Oh, and real quick, one detail most casual viewers won't catch, but I really appreciate, is the leg brace Leatherface now has, because in the original, he got his leg all cut up, and I'm sure that's why he now has that contraption. So thanks, movie, for at least giving me something. And the random creepy chick is then killed by Leatherface, and Benny and Doc Brown are both really broken up about it.
Damn.
Michelle and Ryan are then taking a leisurely saunter through the woods when Leatherface finds them and a bear trap finds Ryan. Michelle then ditches him and finds a lone house, which isn't suspicious at all, and hey, why does this all sound really familiar?
In the distance, a small cottage with a light on. Hope. You move stealthily toward it, but your leg! It's caught in a bear trap!
I'm on to you, Rob Cantor. Now I know where you got the inspiration for that awesome song. Michelle then just bombards herself into the house, how rude, and finds a little girl played by Jennifer Banco. And she's also baby Tina in the beginning of Friday the 13th Part 7. So that's something. Michelle is then attacked by Tex and has her hands nailed to a chair. We then see Grandpa is, I think, officially dead, but in the original he was basically already there, so who really knows. And we also see Mama, played by Miriam Bird Netherly. We see Ryan is brought in and is first up on the chopping block. Pretty much literally.
She looks to me like she might go all screamy on us, Eddie.
I wish you'd call me Tex.
What the fuck? Aren't these people supposed to be crazy animals? Why are they getting all worked up over not being called the right name? Weird. And in case you forgot, Benny is still creeping around the woods when he finds Alfredo talking to himself and throwing body parts into a pond. That was a weird sentence. Back at the house, Leatherface tries getting Michelle to listen to his Walkman, but she's not a fan of Linkin Park. And he then sees his new chainsaw, which has the movie's stupid tagline engraved into it. Did they get that customly done, or did they do it themselves? Because it looks too good to have been done by them, but whatever. Tinker then throws his newly found Walkman into the oven, but Leatherface ain't having none of his robotic bullshit and shoves his bare hand into it to get it back for him. Now that is the Leatherface we all know and love. Back with Benny, he finally confronts Pizza Sauce here.
Do I know you?
Yeah, he's the main star in Dawn of the Dead. Anyways, Benny then smacks that Italian named Fuck into the pond, and turns out he's not a real good swimmer. Leatherface then plays with his toy and no. Clowns are friends, not food. Anyways, Benny's done with the Sawyer's cannibalistic tomfoolery and just shoots the place to shit, killing Mama, blowing off Tinker's ear, and somehow leaving Michelle unharmed. The two run outside and they turn on their giant lights. Oh, and on the other side of the field, Jason's getting a nice little surprise too. I can't believe I just referenced Jason Goes to Hell. Moving on, Leatherface makes chase with Michelle, while Benny and Tex have an actually entertaining fight scene with some rock and roll in the background. I never knew I wanted to see this, but now I'm glad I have. Oh, and Tex gets caught on fire and the truck fucking explodes. Michelle then gets caught in some trap and dragged into a pond. She then has the same reaction the mom from Poltergeist has in the pool when she realizes she's swimming with corpses. Just as Michelle is going to be killed, Benny saves her ass again and fights with Leatherface in the pond. And again, it's a pretty decently executed scene, but Benny is then shown to have been defeated and cut up by the chainsaw. Michelle is disheartened by the outcome and is then attacked by Leatherface and does the same thing Ryan did to the armadillo earlier and gives him a nice rock to the face. She bashes him in the head a few more times for being in the next generation and he sinks below the surface. Morning arrives in a matter of seconds, cause this movie kinda has a fetish for that, and we see Michelle is all alone. And in this really unsuspenseful fake-out, turns out Benny's driving Alfredo's truck. He's then knocked out again by the sauce man himself, and I would ask how the fuck he's still alive, but when I think about how Benny is in this scene, I ask, how the fuck is he still alive? And just as quickly as he's returned, he's disposed of.
Pretty goddamn good, you backwoods motherfucker.
That one-liner was okay. I'd give it a 5 at best. It needs some work. Anyways, Benny pops back up and the two drive off, only to have Leatherface appear. Because horror movie. And that was Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre III, and it's a very mixed bag. For one, Ken Foree makes this movie worth a watch alone, and with a couple pretty cool fight sequences, made this an easy watch. Kate Hodge was alright as a lead, but I didn't know much about her and she wasn't all that developed, so I couldn't root for her as much as I feel like I should. Leatherface is at least a tiny bit intimidating in this movie compared to what he's like in the next movie.
You sit the fuck down!
But the movie also drags and is very boring in parts, and it didn't have that great of deaths. The Sawyer family had a few welcome additions, but nowhere near as good as the Sawyer boys of the original. Plus the constant fake outs if Benny, Alfredo, or Leatherface were dead, just to have them pop back in the movie 40,000 times, lost any suspense or tension whether they were alive or dead, or any investment I had for them. Overall, this movie is alright if you look at it as kind of an action horror movie, kinda like Jason Lives, but nowhere near as good as Jason Lives, and comparing this movie to others in the franchise definitely makes it look better. But with not that great of characters or kills, it drags this movie down a lot. I'm going to give Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 a C-, because it's got a few worthwhile things in it, but drags on a lot and is very predictable and boring. Man, from Michael to Pinhead, I'm seriously surprised Leatherface hasn't attacked me. Oh yeah, I'm not in Texas. Sweet. I guess now it's time to take a joyride.